Your entire social security check, about $2,000 a month, is a middle-class salary in Vietnam. That's not a stretch. $2,000 a month is what a mid-level software engineer in Hanoi earns, enough to raise a family and live a high-quality life. In America, that same check is the whole income for millions of retirees. It has to cover the rent or the mortgage, the food, the insurance, every medical bill. Most months, it barely does. You can cut back, but only so far. Nobody retires to eat less. You wouldn't be the first to look for another way. More and more retirees are moving abroad to developing countries with real, modern comforts at a fraction of the cost. And Vietnam keeps coming out on top. So let's follow that check to Hanoi and see the life it buys. Every part of it, including the parts nobody mentions. Let's start at the gate. 2 local people live in Hanoi, and it's worth meeting them first. Not to be them, but to measure by them. The man holding the camera earns about $500 a month. That's an ordinary office wage here, the kind of money much of the city lives on. Call it the floor. His friend, the one who lives inside, writes software and earns 4 times that, $2,000 a month, the same figure as your check. And on that salary, here, he isn't scraping by. He's comfortable, solidly middle class. That's the part worth sitting with. The number that runs out on you back home is a middle-class life here. You'd walk in already standing where he stands. So walk in. The first thing you'd notice is the quiet. No motorbikes on the sidewalk, no traffic pushing past you. There's a guard at the gate and a wall around the whole property. Maybe that sounds like a small thing. At 70, it isn't. It's sleeping through the night without listening for the door. Inside, the ground is flat and smooth, and everything sits close. The shops, the food, a doctor, the pool, all a short, level walk from your door. That one thing changes a lot. When people stop driving, their world usually shrinks to a few rooms. Here, you could give up the car and barely feel it. Almost everything is downstairs. A swimming pool, a pickleball court. You wouldn't drive to them or pay a membership. They're in the building and they're free. And moving every day isn't a small thing at 70. The people who stay active stay independent longer. Here, staying active is simply the easy path. A pool for a normal Tuesday, not a vacation. A few small restaurants, a shop that stays open late. You could go a week without needing to leave. Your coffee is downstairs too, a real cup, sitting down, watching the street, about 80 cents. Back home it's $6, and they want the table back. Here, nobody rushes you. Look at the people too. This isn't a retirement community. It's young families, kids on bikes, folks heading to work. You wouldn't be set aside somewhere to grow old quietly. You'd be living in the middle of a normal, busy neighborhood. For a lot of people, that's the real fear about getting older, being put out of sight. Here, you wouldn't be. In the evening, you'd walk. After dinner, the paths fill up. Families, older folks, couples out for the air. You wouldn't think twice about being out after dark. People know their neighbors here, and life mostly happens outside, on the sidewalks and over a glass of tea. You'd have to work at it to stay lonely. Now the fear that's bigger than rent, getting sick. A doctor's visit here costs a few dollars at a public hospital, 30 or 40 at a private clinic with an English-speaking doctor. And the number that scares American families most, $6,000 to $10,000 a month for a nursing home, doesn't exist at that scale here. If you ever needed help at home, someone to cook, to clean, to get you around, you could afford it. Growing old here doesn't have to mean a facility, and you'd stop fearing the bill more than the illness. There's a quieter relief in that, too. For a lot of people, the real fear isn't the cost to themselves, it's becoming a burden to their kids. One long illness in America can swallow a lifetime of savings and then start on your children's. Here, care you can actually afford means the people you love inherit your memory, not your medical bills. The everyday medical costs run in your favor too. The prescriptions that cost hundreds of dollars a month at home are often a few dollars here. The dental work you keep putting off is a fraction of the price. The care people skip because of the cost, you'd stop skipping it. Maybe the words developing country give you pause. They shouldn't. This is what Vietnam looks like now. Fast internet, clean water, hospitals with Western-trained doctors, a middle class that travels and invests. The same comforts you're used to, at a different address. And the day-to-day is easier than you'd fear. English is common in the city, and a phone app covers the rest. A ride across town costs a couple of dollars. You wouldn't be doing it alone, either. There's already a community of people who made this move, who'll tell you where to bank, which hospital to trust, how the visa runs really work. Then there's the part most people never see. Behind a second gate, in a section only residents can use, there's a man-made beach, a lagoon ringed with real sand and coconut palms, built right into the complex. Next to it, a Japanese garden, trimmed and quiet and usually empty. Stand there a second. On paper, you're not a rich man, you're a retiree living on one check, and this is the view on an ordinary morning. The place is big enough that people don't always walk it. An electric shuttle loops the grounds. There's a shopping mall inside the walls. It's less an apartment block than a small, quiet town of its own. You'd feel that in your day. No afternoon lost driving from the bank to the pharmacy to a store across town. Those hours would just be yours for the pool, the garden, a long coffee. Picture the week then. A swim before the heat comes up. The market in the morning, something slow on the stove by noon, the garden in the afternoon, out of the sun, friends when you want them, quiet when you don't. It's the retirement the brochures sell, except here, you could actually pay for it. Around 11, you'd take the elevator down to the supermarket under the building, buy what you need, and cook lunch at home. Fresh food, bought that morning, for a few dollars. And you'd eat well doing it. Fish caught that morning, vegetables picked the day before, fruit you've never heard of. Good food stops being a splurge here. It's just what's for lunch. The things that feel like luxuries at home are ordinary here too. A massage that costs less than a sandwich back there. Dinner out that doesn't dent the budget. A little help around the house. You'd live the way you used to only on vacation, every week, without thinking about it. The apartment is 55 square meters. The man filming it lives in, and you just need the same. Then the number that holds it all up. The pool, the beach, the gardens, the guard, the grounds, kept clean every morning. All of it runs about $40 a month. Back home, a place with a pool and a gym charges $300 or $400 in fees before you've even paid for the roof. And if you're a couple, the math only softens. The same apartment, the same $40 fee, but 2 checks coming in instead of 1. What's comfortable for one person is genuinely easy for 2. A low, steady cost like that does something to the rest of your money. A fixed check buys a little less every year at home, while prices climb. Here, it holds, and because it covers your life, you're not draining your savings to get by. What you spent a lifetime putting away stays where it is, and you'd be doing all of it on part of the check. The rest, over $1,000 most months, stays yours. That's the part that changes everything. A ticket home when you miss the grandchildren, help in the house if the day comes you need it, a cushion for the bad month that always shows up, not just getting by. Room to breathe. And with that surplus, the rest of Asia opens up. Thailand, Japan, the beaches down south, a short, cheap flight away. This isn't a waiting room. It could be the traveling you never had the time or the money for. And when your kids come to visit, you could host them like royalty for what a nice dinner costs back home. There's one thing left you can't put a price on, the pace. Nobody rushes you out of a chair. A coffee can take 2 hours. After a lifetime of hurrying, That alone is why some people never move back. None of this is really about things being cheap. It's about what your money makes you. The same check that has you counting days at home makes you, on this street, the most comfortable person on it. Now let me be honest with you. You deserve the other half of the story. Start with the apartment. Foreigners barely buy a place here anyway. The bureaucracy is crazy, and even if you do, it's only for a set number of years. Your best bet is to just lease one. It's about $300 a month for rent and $40 for the building fees, and that includes all the perks that I mentioned earlier in the video. That said, renting instead of owning isn't only cheaper, it's freedom. No mortgage, no property to manage from the other side of the world. If the life doesn't fit, you leave. You'd be renting a life here, and you can always hand it back. Second, the paperwork. As of 2026, Vietnam has no retirement visa. Nothing lets you stay just because you're retired with a pension. Most foreigners live here on 90-day visas, leaving and coming back every few months, or through an investor route. It works. Thousands do it, but it's not the stamp-it-once arrangement some other countries offer. Talk to a real immigration lawyer before you plan anything around it. And about that cheap health care, routine care is a bargain, but serious care is not free. For anything major, you'd want a private or international hospital and real insurance to go with it. The public hospitals are cheap but really crowded. And one more, your children and grandchildren would be a plane ride away, not a Sunday drive. Vietnam is literally on the other side of the planet. When it's day for you, it's night for them. So even a video call means someone is waking up early or staying up late, and a screen is still no substitute for a small hand in yours. For some people that trade is worth it, for others it never will be. Only you know which one you are. And the weather cuts both ways. You'd never shovel snow again or open a heating bill, but a Hanoi summer is long, hot, and heavy with humidity. There's a reason so much of this life happens early in the morning and after the sun goes down. If heat wears you out, come in June and feel it before you decide anything. So, the number one more time, $2,000. Back home, it's the figure you stretch to the end of the month and then start over. Here, it rents the apartment, covers the pool and the garden and the guard, and leaves most of itself still in your account. Do the math once, slowly. $300 for the home, $40 for everything else, $100 for food, with well over $1,000 of that same check left, for travel, for real insurance, for the flight home to see the grandchildren, and for the savings you came in with, still whole. None of this is about giving up on America. It's about what you do when the numbers stop working, when the check that was supposed to be enough just isn't. You can spend your last good decades shrinking to fit it, or you can take that same check somewhere it opens back up. Same $2,000. A completely different life.